Master Geng showered Little Belle, applied talcum powder, put on her clothes, and flew 2 circles above his head, and then landed Little Belle on her yellow sandals. Master Geng patted his daughter's butt and sighed loudly, "Little thing, you want to fly every day. You're so spoiled." Juan did not answer, and reached into the flour bag to scoop out the flour. Master Geng said, "What do you want to do? You're going to give birth in a few days." Juan looked down as she did not hear. Master Geng walked up and held Juan's hand. Juan struggled with her hand in the bag and said, "We still have over 2 pounds of meat." Master Geng said, "Can't you just make a few meatballs and eat them?" Juan sat down and said, "I'm afraid of staying at home alone. When I'm free, I think about it. Applying for another child was so hard that I'm afraid of giving you another dom." Master Geng said, "What are you talking about? I heard my son calling Dad in your belly." Juan sat on the edge of the bed, sitting half-leaning, a bit like a judge in Beijing opera. Juan beckoned to Little Belle, called her to come, and combed her hair. Juan said, "We wouldn't have had this son if she wasn't dumb. She finally brought us such a blessing." Master Geng poured out the bath water, wiped his hands, and brought out a stack of bowls from the cupboard. The collision between bowls and bowls made an extremely daily sound of life. Master Geng took the words just now and said, "Little Belle is older, just right to help look after his little brother." Juan's hand stopped on Little Belle's head and said, "Forget it. She's spoiled so much by us. What could we expect from her? I don't expect their generation." While talking, there was a sound next door. An enamel bowl fell to the floor, and then a spatula fell. Little Sue's voice came over immediately. Little Sue said, "Burnt?" It took a moment to hear the words of Xiamo. Xiamo said, "It's okay." Little Sue said, "You poured the oil. How would I let you stir-fry the grains? You spread the whole room." Master Geng and Juan glanced at each other and were about to say something, and suddenly heard another violent retching of Little Sue. Little Sue's flustered talk came out behind the held palm. Little Sue said, "Go, go, quickly pour out the oil. I vomit when I smell the oil." Master Geng's rag was still in his hand, and he was about to go there. Juan was like, "Hey," and gave Master Geng a look. There was a louder scoop sound from the next door. "Damn it," Xiamo complained low. "Damn it. How did it happen?" Little Sue didn't sleep well, and the train ran in her head all night, from the left ear to the right ear, and then from the right ear to the left ear. When dawn came, Little Sue fell asleep instead, as if she had a dream. There was chaos dancing, floating gray powder all over the world. Little Sue stretched her hand to Xiamo said in the dream, "Empty." Little Sue opened her eyes. The sunshine was all behind the curtain, and her dream could not be recalled anymore. A note was left on Xiamo's pillow, with Xiamo's pencil writing, "I went to Ope Company." Little Sue picked up this note, looked at the front and back, and finally attributed her stare to her own abdomen. Life is really spoiled by people, and you yield to it, follow it everywhere, and it might be all right. If it does not meet its intentions, it will deny people abruptly and will only be your fault eventually. Little Sue opened the door and drew back the curtains. The sun was shining in the sky and on the ground, and the scorching heat was waving on the railroad tracks in distance. The railroad tracks are intricately crossing, heralding the infinite possibilities of directions. The road hides behind the randomness of the real combination, only leaving you at a loss to the unknown. Little Sue took the toothbrush and towel to wash on the balcony, but Ajuan didn't go out, sitting on a high bench and taught Little Belle to knit hand by hand. Little Belle was in Ajuan's arms, knitting a pink cashmere baby coat. Ajuan, separating her legs and pressing her chin against Little Belle's cheeks, said softly, "A dig, a pool, another dig, another pool." Ajuan looked up and saw Little Sue. She said very politely, "Got up?" Little Sue was brushing her teeth, too embarrassed to talk, just nodded, smiled, with her mouth closed. Little Sue quietly stared at the picture of mother and daughter co-knitting while brushing her teeth. At a certain moment, she accidentally had the idea of getting married, and she wanted to give birth to the child. But this soft and warm impulse lasted only 1 second, and was immediately stopped by Little Sue, vomited out with the toothpaste foam, flowing into the dark, into the unknown. After washing her face, Little Sue made a few polite words with Ajuan, and the topic naturally moved to Little Belle. But this was not an easy topic. Little Belle knew that they were talking about her. Looking at Little Sue, could only smile. Little Sue hardly found the topic. "Your daughter is really calm." Ajuan laughed and said, "Calm? Where are the calm children now? Their anger could scare people to death." Little Sue laughed with her, not knowing what to say. Ajuan found the topic. Ajuan said, "Your man paints, right?" Little Sue was not used to the words "your man," so she quickly explained, "He's my boyfriend." Little Sue regretted it as soon as it blurted out. Life cannot withstand explanation. The more you explain, the more loopholes. Ajuan seemed to have accidentally confirmed a certain premonition. Her eyes became complicated, and she pulled her voice and said, "Oh."